Pick up yourself, graduates. Pick up yourself. I see you all. What a way to run come a class quick. I love it when my students them punctually see me. Let me show them my face. Good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening. Welcome to Head Teacher Case Speaks. We're going to be going into some topics tonight. I hope you have your drink ready, okay? I'm glad that it's not showing. Yes, good. Them can't see, don't know. Them can't see what's in my cup. Right, so make sure you have your drink ready. Let me hail up all of the graduates in the class. Make sure I'm not missing anybody out. Good afternoon, Karen, wherever you are in the world. Big up yourself, Vanessa. Dawn in the building. Big up yourself, Broshaka. Big up yourself, Linda G. Kathleen Sterling. Yvette Sharp. Hello, hello, hello. Paulette Manning. Big up yourself. Esther Jen. Big up yourself. Gal So Nice. I see you. Norma, my darling. Big up yourself. Thank you very much. Let me pin that message. Blessed One, big up yourself. Jay Summer, big up yourself. Who else? Karen. Have I said? Oh no, I said hello to Karen already. Let me see. June, big up yourself. Zayda, hello. Lisa, good afternoon. Stacy Williams, big up yourself. Who else though? Esther, big up yourself. Beat and Teach, good afternoon. Dion, big up yourself. Michelle, big up yourself. Who else am I missing? Blessed One. You catch a live early. That's nice. Big up yourself. And anyone else who has just entered the class, Carol Gale, big up yourself. Daily Musings, I see you. Joycey, I see you. Olive, I see you. Stacy McDonald, I see you too. Please like the video as soon as you come in. Mark yourself present on the register. Okay. Angie, big up yourself. How many of us out here are believing narratives, huh? Let me put on my glasses. How many of us out here are believing narratives? I really wonder. How many of us out here are spinning narratives on social media? So we're going to go into the topics that are on the thumbnail. And the first one we're going to start with is this whole thing about Donna Marie Girl becoming a doctor. Now, as you know, the entire social media has been celebrating, bigging her up, singing her praises, congratulating this lady on this achievement. Of course, there's always going to be a backlash wherever this social media personality is concerned. Lots of people will have a lot of things to say, right? So I think it's really important that certain things are clarified for those who potentially might be at the back of the class on the subject, respectfully, so that you guys don't get your knickers in a twist, because I can see some knickers twisting. Yeah, I don't quite know why. Because had they had a basic understanding of what this was all about, they would have realized that, you know, it's not that deep. Okay. So we should know the difference between an academic doctorate and a honorary doctorate. Okay, they are different things, and some people may actually not really know the difference. So I think it's important that for the opportunity provided that we get into clarifying exactly what the different things are. When you have a PhD, as in a doctorate, issued after years of study, this is about you achieving a certain amount of mastery in a particular area or field of academics. That doctorate is something that will be pinned to your name on legal and professional documents, almost as a requirement to make it clear that you are indeed an expert, that you have taken years out of your academic life to do the research that's necessary to master your field, okay? Of course, on top of that, it gives you a certain amount of clout whenever you speak on a subject. if you have a PhD under your belt about that subject. Right. These kind of PhDs are only offered by university-level institutions. You can only get an academic PhD from a university. This is very different from an honorary doctorate. An honorary doctorate is issued to you on the basis of the fact that you have done extensive service in an area for which it is commended. Honorary doctorates issued by universities are usually not cost related. In other words, the universities actually see it as a badge of honor to have particular people attached to their institution as experts. So by issuing these people with honorary doctorates as a result of the years of service that they have given in a particular field, it gives the university a certain amount of, oh, they're affiliated with us. Yeah, a little bit of zhuzh. Now, if you have institutions that provide training, that have got the premise of doing qualifications, such as that theological college, they can also provide honorary doctorates within their own right. However, being a smaller level of institution, they may solicit donations or they may ask for fees when making commendations. DMG's particular honorary doctorate was based on a commendation by this lady, and I'll show you. Give me a thumbs up when you can see my screen. Let me know if you can see my screen, everybody. Okay. And we all see my screen. Lovely. Okay, good. All right. So, as you can see, this was the announcement that was put out there for everybody to see, right? You can see that it was a doctorate that was issued by the Door of Favor Theological Seminary. They specialize in training around Christian studies, in order to prepare people who wish to pursue a career in spirituality and Christianity. And they are an educational institution in itself, but of a smaller level than a university, okay? So the commendation was made, oh my goodness. The commendation was made by this young lady, Chanella Chosen Vessel, okay? So Chanella Chosen Vessel is the person who made the commendation. She says it here in her statement, which is global, so it's public for the world to see. It is my utmost pleasure to recommend Auntie Donna, now Dr. Donegal, to my spiritual mother, Ambassador, Doctor, Professor, Pastor, Coach, Prophetess Lynn, and her husband, Pastor Marvin Coleman, Senior Pastor of the Mended Vessels Christian Community Church in Queens, New York. The church has established a remarkable school institution that I am part of and graduated with my associate degree in biblical studies with honors from Door of Favor Theological Seminary. I am grateful for the significant impact Dr. Donna's work has had on my ministry, as whenever I keep a function, she tells her Planka Nation to come and support me, which has truly helped my ministry to grow. Thank you, Dr. Donna. I genuinely love you from the bottom of my heart. Congratulations again. I might have to book a flight to come to celebrate with you. Let's see how my schedule is first. So this is the person who commended her, who saw it fit that due to the amount of service that she has given, her humanitarian service, that she was more than deserved of receiving a Doctor of Humane Letters from the Theological Seminary. I do not understand what's so difficult in that for many people to grasp, and why they feel the need to even compare to academic doctorates. It's incomparable. Apples and oranges. But does it make it any less worthy of celebration? So, for those of you who are on my Facebook page, yesterday, I had to take several breaths. Yeah? Several breaths. I shared the post. I congratulated Dr. Gao, and I'm going to go into the whole thing about the title. Yes, I celebrated her. I bigged her up. I was very proud of her, and I still am. Only to come on my Facebook page and notice that, and I was in between jobs. I was heading to another school. I was between schools when I got the ping on my phone, only to see that somebody had the audacity to place under that congratulatory post an image, and I'm not even going to share that, but an image where they annotated the fact that the organization was asking for donations towards any commendation. Okay. Okay, the person did that. Then the person had the audacity to tag me in their status on their page. So the status said, and I don't want anything said, may I make up nothing. So hold on there. Because I'm not going to put this on screen, but I'm going to show you, hopefully on camera it will show. I don't know if you guys can you even see it? Can't see it. It won't let me show you. We can't show it, payaso. Let me read it. Be it known that there is a monetary donation, $sign, cost, plus you have to be recommended by someone among other requirements that is needed to attain this honorary degree. Favor does not attract a cost. Then the person tagged me with about 4 question marks, then says truth matters. Underneath that was the screenshot of the image talking about the fact that the degree asked for a donation and whatever, and the picture of her receiving the Doctor of Humane Letters. Now, I had to, yes, I said, please don't highlight them. It looked like the computer said no. I was gonna, and the computer went no. Good. Believe you me, my girl, you came this close to a Robbins. Very, very close. And I don't believe you necessarily meant to actually go there with me, but you did. Now, this truth matters part is the part that annoyed me more than anything else. It wasn't the rest of the stuff, because yeah, the rest of the stuff is true. It does attract a cost. It is an honorary degree. But the part that irritated me was the truth matters part, as though somebody's out here telling lies. And you know that language isn't lost on me. And then you had the audacity to actually put that same image in the congratulatory post. And I questioned you. I said, what is the point? What exactly is your intention? The person proceeded to then screenshot whatever discussions was happening on her page, because I didn't even look, right? to show that, oh, she was actually saying that she deserves it and all of that. But who came out here and said that such a scenario isn't factual? I don't know. I think that the issue with some of the people who are very quick to tear down rather than to build up is that they have this incapacity of recognizing nuances in the field. How can you not realize that there are different tiers to even educational institutions? And that there are different policies and procedures according to the type of institution you actually are. A university will never charge for an honorary degree. No, they won't. Because they're a huge institution, and usually it's about boosting their own portfolio and profile. It's very different when you have a smaller level college or a smaller level seminary that is not as yet at that standard or at that level. They've got administrative costs to actually cover. It is not the first institution that charges for commendations for honorary degrees. They're everywhere. Google is your friend. Google is your friend. So I do not understand the need to be highlighting this as though you are basically knocking it down a peg, because that's exactly what you were doing. You were trying to discredit something that was done out of goodness. You were trying to discredit something that was done to celebrate the works of a lady who has given far more back than many of you, than even I. And I really do not understand our crab in a barrel mentality, because that's what that is. Do you see the University of the West Indies doing it yet? Do you see the government of Jamaica doing it yet? What other organizations have given her accolade, our marmalade, our lemonade? And it is a shame that one of us, our own people, would take the time to go as far as to tag me into such nonsense. To prove what point? Some of you really need to calm down. Really need to calm down. Let me take a look at some of the comments. So basically, them message she pay a fee. That's basically what they're saying, bro, Shaka, which is why I showed them clearly that it was a commendation, right? And if we were to go into the semantics of it, on the actual application for the organization, they clearly said, please do not contact us if your desire is to receive this degree at no cost. The suggested donation amount and the necessary qualification must be met in order to receive the degree. So you do not even have to pay. You don't have to. It says it here. The Door of Favor Theological Seminary does not sell its honorary degrees. However, there is a suggested donation amount. A suggested donation amount. Please do not contact us if it is your desire to receive this degree at no cost. The suggested donation amount and the necessary qualification must be met in order to receive this degree. Okay? So it's a donation amount. It is not a purchasing transaction. And it really is Up to you to decide that, okay, I'm going to do this or I'm not going to do that. You can give a donation towards the organization, but it's not considered a transactional sale. And there is a difference. The people have costs to cover, right? But what I find really irritating is that why not focus on the fact that here it is that somebody has actually acknowledged her and acknowledged her service and acknowledged what she's done and given her a title. Now, let me get to the whole point of whether or not she should be going around the place calling herself Dr. Donna Marie Gok. I say, well, what if people, I put up some things about, oh, doctor, I am no doctor. This person is no doctor. Listen, it is recommended that should you choose to use the title, and you can choose to use it, that you do so ethically and within context. In other words, you must not use the title in an attempt to pass yourself off as a PhD recipient on the academic scale. You have got to make it clear that it is an honorary doctorate within whichever formal communication you are using. It has to be used ethically, okay? It has to be used ethically. It also needs to be explicit that it is an honorary doctorate, an honorary degree, okay? So many people, such as Bounty Killer, received one, right? There's quite a few that received honorary doctorates. If we were to even go down that route, it's quite a few people that's received it. So let me just see if I can find a little list for you of the amount of people that received honorary doctorates from Jamaica, because it's quite a few people received it. Hold on. I know that Bounty Killer received an honorary doctorate. I had the list up, and I don't know where to take it down for. Right? What the name of that singer? Beres Hammond. Beres Hammond received an honorary degree. But these people that I'm listing, they received their honorary degree from universities. Sharika Jackson, that is an athlete. She received one, and she received one from UTech. Beres Hammond received one from the University of the West Indies. So did Bounty Killer. So it's like, at the end of the day, these people, none of them are academics, guys. They all have got years of service behind their belt. They've contributed a lot in their field of expertise, and that's why they received it. It's an acknowledgement of service, not an academic qualification. So it's very different. It's also within the discretion of the recipient to use the title or not use the title. But even when used on a discretionary basis, it must be done within context, and it must not be used to pass themselves off as an academic doctor. It's simple. Okay? So I hope that has brought some clarity to those of us who had no understanding. Usain Bolt, thank you very much, Jeanette, right? Who have no understanding about the different levels to the thing and that it's now clear. But for us, it's still a big flipping deal, okay? Because it was seen fit. She obviously passed and met the criteria, and she was deserved. And we celebrate her on that basis and that basis alone. It's not about tearing down people. It is about building them up. But of course, some of us really struggle with that because it's every opportunity to tear down, right? All right. Let me go into this thing now. Sometimes I often wonder if we really understand ourselves, understand what we want out of this life. I'm going to ask a question, and I want my graduates to actually answer. Who said, emancipate yourselves from mental slavery? None but ourselves can free our minds. If you know who said it, can you please type it in the chat? Who said, who said, emancipate yourselves from mental slavery? None but ourselves can free our minds. Who said it? Does anyone know who actually said it? Okay, Jay. Thank you. All right. So Yvette said Bob Marley said it. Dawn said Bob Marley said it. Lisa Mason said Bob Marley said it. Anyone else? Who said it? Patricia said Bob Marley. Michelle says Bob Marley. All right. Jay said Bob Marley. Okay. Fully myself. Know your English grammar. Big up yourself. Right. Look at all of that. Brenda, big up yourself. Just take a look in my chat. And that tells you everything you need to know. Take a look in my chats. That tells you everything you need to know. So many people are saying Bob Marley. Wow. Actually, no. Bob Marley did not say emancipate yourselves from mental slavery. Bob Marley sang it. Okay? The first person to actually say those words was Marcus Mosiah Garvey. Marcus Garvey. Emancipate yourselves from mental slavery. None but ourselves can free our minds, is Marcus Garvey. What does that tell you? What does that tell you? It tells you that many of us have lost a very significant part of our history and our identity. I don't know if you listened to Golding's breakdown at the of the budget and his intentions for the People's National Party as leader. I don't know if you listened, perhaps you heard, but I don't know if you really listened to what it is that this man had to say. It's funny because a very close person to me has been going on about certain things on their platform for months now. And I never really took it in, only to now hear Bruce Golding saying the same things. I'm not sure if Jamaicans realize that the JLP from its campaign started, we have not heard mention of the achievements of any of their former leaders. I wonder why. The PMP is quite the opposite. Why is that? So according to this dear friend of mine, his observation is that it seems they do so that it does not return people to the memory of the wickedness that was meted out to them by their former leaders. Remember, Bustamante tried to actually wipe out Rastas. Shearer destroyed the Black Power movement and told the police to actually bust one first and ask question later. I'm trying to select my words carefully because you know it's a YouTube funny. Siaga, he cut free education. He closed Jamal, closed the PWD and created the unemployment problem we now have. Dissolved KSAC, created garbage pileup all over Jamaica. Did you know that Golding was behind the incursion on Tivoli? A lot of dirty things in the past of these politicians. However, that is not their present. There is something that Jamaicans need to understand. The JLP has never really won an election by merit of the benefits for the people under its governance. It has always been by bogus voting, stealing ballot boxes, propaganda, violence. It started with their founding leader who signed a pact with the moneyed people to oppress the masses. An arrangement which was turned down by Norman Manley. The JLP is not for the poor and the needy. They have always been making the economy grow for the rich. They don't care. They only pretend to care. A government that cares does not sell its people as guinea pigs. It does not sell their heritage to foreigners. It does not take away their farmlands and make them starve or demolish their buildings illegally. It does not decide for the people what they want or promise the people things they can't deliver or tell people lies to get votes. Yes, it's Mark Golding's one that we're going to focus on in a minute. We're talking about Bruce in the past, though. Right? Without the PNP's input into the development of Jamaica, we would never be this far with our development. And if they were not opposing the development, we would have been more developed. Listen to those words. That's from my dear friend. I want you to listen. I wonder if you understand what it means to be governed by a hate speech law. This is another form of slavery. It means we have no right to express ourselves verbally. We all know that the Jamaican culture is widely an oral culture, as it came with us from Africa. Storytelling, very important, which is why I get really annoyed when people say, oh, don't talk about the mix-up and the bagga-bagga. And I look at people like that and realize that they're actually limited in their vision because they do not understand that oral culture tradition is about passing down information by word of mouth. And word of mouth is often done through storytelling, and storytelling is often confused with mix-up. Everybody's story in real life is worth sharing. So when you hear the current government basically looking at our dialect, we chat bad, we talk broken English, it goes to show you how these leaders consider the culture of the people as insignificant. It's almost as though they're trying to erase our dialects as authentic to our identity. These are the kind of things that we have noticed even in the very current government's educational policies. They're not keen on patois having its place. Right? I don't know if you're taking notes of what is coming out of the mouths of the members of the government that you claim should be in power. What concerns should concern all of us? Who actually did the job of developing the infrastructure for our country, Jamaica? The JLP is saying they did the best with the development of Jamaica. But what they say they did is recorded in the history of the PNP as they being the architects of Jamaica's development. Most of the policies, if not all, in local government was set by the PNP, but are being eroded by the JLP. The debates have shown that they are not working to a rule. A lot of compromising is done to facilitate family and crony alike. Crony with false companies draining the public purse to put more money in their own pockets. Their complacency and wanton spending and revelry at the expense of the people's welfare have thrown our communities into disrepair and our people into misery. The JLP has placed the people under psychological stress, the kind of stress that makes one become mad, derelict, robbers, murderers, constantly angry and disoriented. With these things happening under their management, how can they be saying they did the best for Jamaica? They closed all the trading centers, closed the best apprentice program in the PWD when they dismantled it. They charged people to attend public hospitals. They changed the use of farmlands and created a food crisis and are now introducing certain things in terms of gender choice sneakingly into kindergarten and primary schools. If this is their best, then it is time come to put it to an end. Listen, I want you to understand these words are coming from somebody that is dear to me. Don't think these are my words, but I agree with everything. Listen. Personally, I didn't know that our PM would go so far in ignoring the laws and policies of this country. I heard him say Portmore is not a municipality, to raving applause from his hypnotized hypocrites. I also didn't know that our government is loaded with functional illiterates. Jamaica is in a very bad position. In 2016 and 2020, they won by popular votes. Now they lose by the popular votes. Portmore is known by law as the Portmore City Municipality. He really is, as in Conjure, a functional illiterate. Here is why. In 2003, Portmore, after 9 years of advocacy from its citizens, was declared a city municipality with the right to elect its own mayor. Portmore was also divided into 12 divisions, which means 12 councillors. St. Catherine is the only parish that has 2 municipalities, Portmore and St. Catherine. Before the election, the PM, Montague and Warmington were telling the citizens that when they take over Portmore, they will be turning Portmore into a parish. Now, post-election, won by the PNP, they are using the media to convince Jamaicans that Portmore is not a municipality. The truth is, Portmore is not a parish municipality. It is a city municipality. So the con that these unscrupulous dunces and the media are trying will not work. They're trying to bring off a Donald Trump scenario. One thing I can tell them, they have now confirmed that they are a fraudulent government. Listen to that. Ah, boy, when I tell you, say it's a long time this person writing this, you know. And interestingly, this was the last thing that was said. This government is really a mad government. We are supposed to have a budget for the betterment of Jamaicans. Instead, it is for the betterment of foreigners. Now, this, I felt this to my core. Then the person said, how the Ras Ligel is removing GCT from foreign poisonous foods and not off the local food. And I actually had to comment on this status and I said, listen, it's almost as though Golding heard you. Isn't the government supposed to be protecting the people's health? Isn't the people's health a priority? I think the plan is to give precedence to Bill Gates to supply Jamaica with GMO foods. Knowing how this government operates, there has to be some financial kickback for putting the poisonous foods before our own. They are not even thinking of our farmers earning or the families they have to take care of. I have seen it a long time ago that their prosperity is for others and not Jamaicans. The PM already promised the people whom he serves at the WHO to serve them well. That means give them an open gate to come here and mess up Jamaicans. The Europeans say we must keep Africa poor. That means Black people, wherever they are, through their puppet governments. Apparently, they have not heard what the people said in the local election. They just don't care about us. What an impassioned and serious speech. And very true. So when I listen to Golding, and if you haven't already listened to it, I suggest you do. When I listen to Golding breaking down the policies in the budget, I was not only impressed, I was blown away. I said to myself, if it is that Jamaica was like this before I left, I would never have gone. The man thought about everything. He did not just think about the end game. He thought about the processes to get there. And I have to ask, how is it that we can't identify when we have got leaders who are pulling the wool over our head and telling us lies and creating scenarios and feeding your guts in order to get your vote and not giving you anything concrete on which to go by? The mere fact that to this day we still cannot hear who the illicit six are, despite the document being there. A man who hides his assets as your leader should tell you guys that he needs to come down. But what do? They go down into the ghetto, them fling on the music for everybody for wind up themselves, right? For TikTok and drift. And then they feed you with curry goat and hard food and manish water and give nice vibes. And that's where it stops. And because the masses are satisfied for a small moment, they think that that is enough. I am telling you that I am not normally into politics either, you know, big and serious. I am not normally into politics either, but I have a concern for my country, and therefore I have to listen. It's not everything I follow, but certain things that are milestones in my country's development I pay attention to. Because I always have to think, what if the day should come where I have to leave this place? I want to go back to a country that I can actually be safe in. And many of us out here can't return because we're thinking if we go there, with 3 points I go take. We can't return because the infrastructures there are not good enough. Those of us who have got skills under our belts, I could literally run schools in Jamaica with the amount of experience and knowledge I have. But why am I going to go there when I see teachers dropping like flies? When I listen to the pilfering amount of money that they get paid. Huh? For the amount of work that is required to actually form the minds of the future. No, thank you. So at the end of the day, why would I go back if there's nothing there to hold me? The man is talking about incentives for teachers, right? Saying that they will have priority access to housing associations so that they can buy houses, so that they can also purchase cars at increasing rates of discount according to years of service. The man is talking about giving all of them free laptops, including students giving them free laptops. And the point that really grabbed me was when he spoke about the student loan, and you hear me lament about that already on this channel. When he spoke about the student loan, the fact that the student loan would not be paid back until you achieved a certain level of income, and that it would be suspended if you were not being paid without interest. Now you tell me, did it take rocket science for the government, the Kandra and the rest of in cronies, never realized that this was a necessity? When he broke down the mentality, the fact that there were no jobs, the fact that because the youth are workless, high rates of unemployment and poverty, they then turn to chopping the line. And that we have created an economy where chopping the line is no more enticing than going out there to actually get a job. That we have created an environment that is dependent on remittances. That is why people take to social media and beg and beg and beg, and it is more lucrative. Because instead of getting paid your worth, you are getting minimum wage, and the minimum wage is not a livable wage. I said to myself, my God, somebody said it. Somebody said it. Now, listen, me know say the whole of them are corruption, people. But really and truly, it has to be a case of looking at the best out of what you have. And Golding's speech blew me away. It did. Let me see, some over 50 teachers leaving Jamaica. Of course, they're leaving. They are leaving, and I do not blame them at all. The green student loanies don't want that straight shower. They say, hey, see all them foolishness? I think a lot more Jamaicans are waking up, be it shower or power. They're waking up and they're realizing that that they have been feeding you for years and years is only putting them in a higher position and putting you in a lower position. I am seeing a government where you have got leaders living the high fly life, and you people in Jamaica who are a part of the masses are suffering on a day-to-day basis. And so the young amongst you who are in this suffering thing and dip on the internet like crazy and want all of the good things them will do anything in order to achieve them. And sometimes that anything can lead them down a path of cybercrime. But the government is sitting back and relaxing on their haunches because nobody is challenging them. Well, I'm telling you, Golding challenged them. In that speech that he gave, he challenged them. He made them squirm. They are going to have to go back to the drawing board with whatever it is they're going to deliver tonight. Tonight or tomorrow? Tomorrow. Come, me sure no, they weren't ready. The man addressed everything and then he took to the streets of the people like a true revolutionary. He even hit on the fact that the man's wife is sat there in the house. How could your wife be this? No, sir. What kind of corrupt system is that? You think you're going to get transparency? The Speaker of the House is the man's wife? Really? Okay, yes. Well, he did mention some of the things that he was going to be using for the funding, Tanisha. He did mention some of the things that he would be using for the funding. But at the end of the day, remember, this is related to the budget. So whatever he has said has got to be attached to some budget there, right? It has to be attached. They would have had all the details of that, right? So let's hope he's not only challenge them in speech, but in action. Yes, 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 absolutely. Isn't that nepotism? All I know is, people, we need to wake up as Jamaicans and we need to take control of what our tax money is doing. Did you hear the part where he spoke about the fact that taxes have more than doubled, right, per person in the island? What benefit has there been? Taxes have more than doubled. Look at the whole fact that since this man took over, all of them beach there getting owned by foreigners. Suddenly we don't have public beaches anymore. Most of the beaches are privatized. Me never hear in this day and age when I was a child or when I was growing up, say Jamaica import onion. What the hell? No incentives for farmers. They were taxing local food and then remove the tax from foreign food. You don't see that is all about benefiting the rich and stamping down on the poor. Even that, Golding break it down. He says, how does that make sense? Remove GCT from farming tools so that it encourages them to farm. Remove GCT from things like eggs so it increases demand. How can you take GCT off foreign foods, but not on local foods? They're playing into the hands of foreigners to benefit their pockets. And if Jamaica can't see that, I don't see how you guys can sit there so blind and so comfortable. You can't be comfortable in a situation like that. Yes, onion, bro shaka. Bro shaka, them are import onion. Onion. Look at, and I have to say this carefully, look at the Mary Jane industry. For those of you who don't know Mary Jane, we are talking about, the Kochi and the you know me attack, right? The Mary Jane industry is being managed mostly by foreign entities in our island. We're up in the hills, we grow some of the best you can think of. That all of them hills and so where them a plant that most of it is being owned by foreign entities or the very, very high class. Like the likes of what's she name? Cindy Breakspeare's son. We're up tapping at the industry. The ordinary man don't have no foot in that lucrative business. When the rest them have it locked from time. Just look at the imbalance of scale. They have basically allowed foreigners to come into our country and have such a sense of entitlement. I don't know if you guys saw the video where the lady who was talking about how the Chinese shop owner was being so disrespectful towards her, knowing full well that she could not dare go into their country and do the same. And that she was scared to speak up because the workers underneath that manager would have turned around and probably bust her ass. That there is no monitoring of how these people handle their workers. So underneath our current government, these people are allowed to come into our country and conduct what you would consider to be modern day slavery, to act out racist behavior without challenge. They're allowed to import with minimal duties, if any at all. And if you want, if it's even a 2 pence for come from foreign, them a charge out your man, some of them are rub out on the barrel. Under the state that Jamaica is in now, who is going to want to return? The great minds that have left, the brain bleed that has taken place, who is going to want to return in order to invest and to live? But we are so comfortable being led by deceivers, people who make up narratives for us to feel comfortable for a short while, with no long-term vision, because regardless of what I have to say about Golding, you know, whatever you have to say about Golding, even if it is talk at the moment, his talk was not just about the outcome, which we have heard in the past that the talks were outcome related and no pathway to actually get there. I can't break it down analytically without having to replay it because it's very detailed. But I'm saying it was A plus B plus C equal D. So go back and listen to it, and I want you to listen and not hear, because he gave you lots of clues as to how we could get there. Right? Campbell soup and tomato paste barrel cost 30,000, mighty God. Why is it down to the, is that bow to the foreigners after them no better that way? Exactly. And I'm telling you, we're boycotting the lies tomorrow. Absolutely, I'm certain a lot of people are not going to want to hear anything this man has to say. Right? The fact that he is looking at Portmore and saying it is no longer a municipality. It was an agreement that it was a municipality. So how is it that suddenly no, it's not a municipality? The man don't even know in constitution and the amendments therein. It is a second-tier municipal council, Portmore Municipal Council, and it falls within the parish of St. Catherine. Don't even know that. Mighty God of Daniel, no, sir. So when I started by saying, emancipate yourself from mental slavery, none but ourselves can free our mind. A lot of the things that we endure in our country, is because a lot of us are mentally enslaved. We have gotten complacent into thinking it is okay to be treated the way we've been treated. When my mother has to go and get her treatments for her diabetes, the amount of money she has to shell out to get her treatments, right? It's different from here, where everything is free. And I'm saying, why is it that it has to be like that? If you don't have top tier health insurance, you can't get quality medical care. Look at the state of the hospitals and the beds, and have people asleep on ground. I do not see what it is that Conjure has done that has improved the country at all. I have never seen such a high rate of fatality amongst your teachers. I have never seen it until underneath his rule. A high rate of fatality amongst teachers. It's like, say, up to today, which school, some primary school, this lady ended up with her cancer came back. But we all know cancer is related to stress. The clinics are free plus meds, but what level? Bam, bam, what you don't know is that them have lower tier medicine and them have better medicine for when you pay. Did you know that? Did you realize that if you go into the clinics and get those free meds, it's not the best quality, it's not the best type? Did you know that? Just like how for cancer patients, there is a cheap version of the chemotherapy and a better version of the chemotherapy we have to pay for. It's not that donkey say grong no level you hear? It not depend the same level. So if it is that you want quality medical care, you have to pay through your nose. You have to pay through your nose. I know the same thing. That's it. Thank you, Jeanette. Correct. Correct. I disagree that cancer is, yeah, it could be related to stress, Tanisha. Yes, it could be related to hereditary things as well. It could be. Alpha primary, yes, alpha primary. But cancers are yes, cancers are hereditary, but it can also be related to stress, and that's also true. Both are true. It's not the top tier, no. It's not. It's generic drugs and they're garbage, yes. I mean, also here's someone wanting a placebo and dash way down there. For the poor. You understand? I think we need to realize that things could be so much better. Look at the amount of wealth that is in our country in terms of resources. Look at the bauxite, and I won't even go there, sir, because the bauxite industry is a whole heartbreak. Who is running the bauxite industry? Do you even know? Who is running it? Who is earning mostly from the bauxite industry in our country? Where does the bauxite go? Foreign entities come into our country and mine and take and reap the benefits of everything. The major hotel institutions, where's the tourist money going? Yes, it benefits us in that we have lots of jobs from hotels and things like that. But with the buoyancy of tourism, just like Golding'S said, we should be seeing a lot more knock-on effect of this for local business. See, there's some cancer patients in Jamaica end up sell furniture and house to pay for treatments. Let's look at that wickedness. All right, see there, Clover, Chinese running in the backside. Thank you. And that was one of our biggest our biggest wealth. Of course, you know, there's also the banana industry, but at least that one is still within Jamaicans, right? They make bad deal on the country's behalf. That's correct. Yes. And I really like the fact that he also said that should you have outside entities who wish to export things to our islands, let it be discussed in Parliament. If you have got foreigners who want to come in to do X, to do Y, it needs to be discussed in Parliament. It needs to be brought to Parliament, and the decision needs to be made transparently, and it needs to be done in a way that the public isn't shafted by the end of the agreement to the pocket of the wealthy. So at the end of the day, right now we have a situation where decisions are being made under your nose. You don't have a clue how it happened, only just hear about it. Because no rating's not there. No rate you at all. Them no rate you. You know, they say, at least it was Marcus Garvey who said this. A reading man and woman is a ready man and woman, but a writing man and woman is exact. And the people who are currently writing your laws are not being exact with the public. They're being exact for themselves. Yes? They are speaking one thing and doing another. And it's really a shame. But all I can say is, Una need to wake up. Go and listen to that entire speech, everything that he said, from the talking about water and how water will be distributed. Listen to what he said about teachers and the benefits in terms of retaining teachers to the country. Listen to what he said about how tax allocation will work. The fact that this man is basically trying to say that you can get tax relief if the company that you're working for has filed their taxes on time. What kind of fart that? I have never heard that in my life. So you get your pay, your tax come out tight, right? They automatically get that information. But because the person that you are working for, them not submit them annual accounts or whatever on time. Yes? Because of that, you don't get no tax relief. Yes? This is what they have said in a nutshell. It's dependent on your employer. So if your employers are bad at handling your books, it affects your benefit. How? Why are you, the worker, being penalized for your manager? Make it make sense. That makes sense? Other than they are looking for every opportunity to ensure that they take everything. I know. The Ministry of Labor does not act quick enough when locals complain about being underpaid and no pay at all. No, they don't. They don't. The Speaker of the House and the PM in bed together. I mean, look at all them mess there. Them no one sitting there, them kind of corruption. How it makes sense? Your bedfellow, they're up there speaking. Boy, listen, as I said, I don't understand that kind of mess. Because even in our own government here in the UK, there is absolutely no way you can have those kind of relationships within the house. It can't happen. Those things lead to opportunities for bias, for confusion, for leaking of information, lack of transparency, all kind of things. The man have to come down, man. He have to come down. And it's not really about the fact that, listen, I am a staunch labor rights and have been forever. Only need to wake up to reality. The man has no policy that benefits the poor. He has none. He has none. And what I heard in Golding'S, and I'm telling you guys, a lot of my family are labor rights. But I am telling you, if I was in Jamaica, this is one time I would have stepped out and switch. Switch. Labor rights would have lose me. Right? Because that man is giving you guys many answers, more answers than you would ever have received from the JLP. I listen to strategy. I listen to systematic approach. Everything was lining up. When you go listen to it for yourself, when you go listen to it. I'm not going to play it because I'm not able for them strike me for copyright or rate up on YouTube. I'm not play it. I'm saying go and listen to that thing. It's revolutionary. Right? Oh, another thing he said. When it came to crime, because you know that's one of the reasons why a lot of us won't be returned migrants, right? When he got to the crime part, he said that one of the things he wanted to do was to deal with local advocates for squashing any kind of disagreements. So he wanted to look at underground people who are in communities to build relationships on the ground. Listen, he was talking about community policing, demilitarizing the officers on the streets and the soldiers on the streets that are handling people like they are garbage, creating relationships between the police and the people, community officers. He was talking about putting social workers amongst the masses so that there will be more guidance in terms of not just parenting, raising children, but also in terms of, well-being and all of that. Social welfare. We don't have those things. We used to. Because even as a child, I remember a local policeman that used to walk past all the time, and we used to give him water. I remember that. That was once upon a time, ages ago. I must have been about 5 or 6. It was ages ago. Just imagine that. Right? Is the Speaker of the House second in command if anything happens to the PM? I know. I don't have a clue, my love. You listened to yesterday and it was sound. Yes, Yvette, listen, I was blown away. I was like, but this man makes sense. And okay, as I said, I am not into politics like a lot of the people who are probably on my platform here. But what I'm very good at is sniffing out crap. Yes, and I heard none. I heard none. I heard no rubbish. No rubbish at all. It was all brilliant. Very impressive sound, logical, systematic. It made sense. You could tell the man and him people, them think it through, They thought it through. They thought it through. So let's see what Conjure is going to come with to make on a change in the mind. Let's see, because I don't know if he can measure up to all of that. Them have to go really work. Deputizing regular people. Yes, Bro Shaka. Yes. But without armory, if you think about it, Bro Shaka, without armory, it's really about doing so without making them weaponized on the streets, ready for butt up a man in their head and all, there's something there. It's about building that kind of rapport with the masses, right? And I think that in itself will be such a huge difference to how people perceive the local police as it stands. He also spoke about making sure that the local police had adequate rest time because they're overworked, right? They're overworked. So things like that if you can imagine training up people on the streets to do these kind of jobs, it relieves some of the work that a lot of the officers have to do if you think about it. Yes, I think we will get there though. Tanisha, that he will have to obviously put some grit into it and show how it's going to be working even more in more detail. But I think at the end of the day, it was the budget talk. So can you say these things without money attached? I'm sure they can't, right? They have a lot of plans and they have a certain amount of time to see if you know the JLP can actually meet the mark because they're going to be working. They've started this and they've actually started working on the things that they're saying that they're going to implement, right? So let us see what happens. But all I know is that I don't know about you, but I am tired of deceptive leaders. I'm tired of people who make promises that they don't deliver on. I'm sick of it. And I would like to see a country where young people can know that they're going to step out of their academics and they can look forward to a variety of jobs. He was speaking about things like apprenticeships and mentorships and things to get people. He said he wants to resuscitate heart, right? And I heard that heart went downhill. Me never know that. Heart is supposed to be one of the places that if you're not into academic study and whatever, you just want to go and develop skills, you're supposed to can go heart and walk away with the skills. Me here's a heart gone down the toilet. I hear that heart is no longer a good place to go. And heart used to be the thing. So now he's going to resuscitate heart so that people can go there and they can get themselves a skill and make themselves highly employable, right? Or at least allow them to have such a skill or a trade that they can start a business of their own. One of the things I'd like to hear him talk about is more in terms of giving startup businesses support. That's one thing that I didn't quite hear much of. Because yes, you have people who can just get up and hustle, but if you have got certain academics and certain skills and you want to go and set up a business, I'd like to hear certain kind of packages made available for new business startups, be it finance, mentorship, guidance on your taxes and all of that for new business startups. That's something that's very big over here in the UK because they encourage that because it creates a thriving economy. The more people you have starting businesses that are successful, not businesses where start up and drop down, and they tend to be successful when they are given a good start. That's something that I would like to hear him talk about. People have to stop vote off traditions and vote off the current today's real issues, but who knows who is real these days? Exactly. But they know what the real pain is. They know what the real struggle is, right? They know what the real struggle is. So even if they don't know who is real, they know what the problems are. But my thing with these kind of discourses that take place online or, you know, in parliament, the ordinary man don't understand the things that he's saying. The ordinary man don't get it. So if you are not, you know, an academic, if you don't understand big word, if you know, if you're not following politics, you are going to be like a victim just there getting battered left, right, and center, not thinking that you have a voice, right? How many Jamaicans realize that you have got the legal right to actually attend parliaments? Yes. You can sit in parliament while parliament is sat and they're having their discussions. You can go and sit and observe as a citizen of the country. And only people don't know so them can do that. To go and listen and take in with what's happening. What you don't agree with, Tanisha? I said, Tanisha, what I said was, I'm not saying that heart isn't still going. I said, I heard that heart is going downhill. And I heard that from several people who worked with heart, not attended like a student, but taught and left. Okay? And left. Because heart is going downhill in terms of the administration. The budget that's allocated to heart is less. The amount of money and the amount of resources is less. So while the students might be thinking all is well, it used to be a lot better. That may I tell you. And that is actually factual. So I shouldn't even say I hear. I should say I know. You understand me? The person that I know personally used to be one of the big wig them who used to run hard. You hear me? And they left. So just know when I say it, it is in need of resuscitation. And that's why he said it, because he also knows it is no longer where it was. So you knew that. Okay, real talk. Yes. So, you know, we go through life as victims of the system, not understanding what it is that we have a voice for. As I said, I am not a politician, but I can look on as a regular layman, as somebody who can understand the talk when it's being spoken and make sense of it. But how many people can actually make sense of what is being said? Because it's not necessarily being translated so that the less educated can grasp what their rights are. And really, it is about translating it for them so them get it. So them understand, say, listen, you can't just keep voting one way Just because your area always vote that, and that's your area say. And then you are just there suffering and in squalor. And all you get is a rice and peas and a curry goats. Every time is election time. And you get some music for go broke out too. And you think that is a okay. And you get some paint for dash pan the tire them. And the entrance to your garrison look nice. And you're satisfied with that. It's not enough. It's not enough. There's so much more to life than what the current government is giving you. But they come and they keep you sweet always during election time. And every time we see it, and people just vote without thought. They have a democratic right, but they're not using it powerfully to put things in place that will actually uplift them. But anyway, honestly, me, sit down, we don't know what we are chat politics. How we go from DMG to politics, people. But anyway, I was just so impassioned when I listened to Bruce Golding. I really enjoyed it. It was wonderful. And I think, guys, go and listen to that speech. Listen to it from beginning to end. The man makes sense. The man makes sense. All right. Talk to you guys later. Make sure that you like up the live on your way out. I'm not gonna get that chat all night. I've said what I gotta say, right? Make sure that you like up the live on your way out. Thank you so much for attending HTK Speaks. I hope you've learned something today. I hope you've been edified. I hope you've been uplifted. I hope you've had some food for thought. Okay, this is your girl, HTK, and I'm out.